This coming Thursday, we all celebrate as a community the ascension of the Lord. He rose from the dead, and now we celebrate his ascension into heaven. And as we hear in the gospel, we're looking forward to that Pentecostal day when he sends down the Holy Spirit to remain in us. We no longer see him, but he dwells within us. In the letter of St. Peter today, again, those who have hope, we better have an explanation for how we live. We have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit. We have this truth revealed to us. And we have him who is our guide, leading us closer and closer to that truth. And when we stray, gives us a little kick to put us back into the right direction. This past week, I had the opportunity to go home and visit my family back in Ohio. And I finally found exactly what I've always been looking for. We always want to meet the nicest people. We want to be around good people and nice people. So I was driving down the highway from Cleveland to Columbus to where my sister lives, and it's a 2.5-hour ride of nothing but just cornfields and just flat. It's the most boring ride in the world. That's why I love coming back to New England, because it's actually fun to drive because it's so beautiful here. But on the way, there was a big sign as I was going through Ashland, Ohio, that says, "Welcome to Ashland, headquarters of the nicest people in the world." So I found them. They're all in Ashland, Ohio. None of you are very nice. I'd like to go back there. So anyway. But I kept thinking in this notion of niceness. What does it mean to be nice? You know, if you have a 2-second conversation with somebody and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" They have a smile on their face. You leave there saying, "Well, that person was really nice." But do we stay at the superficial level of niceness and say, just everything's so nice, or do we get down a little bit deeper? And if we know anything about what it means to be Christian and doing the right thing and living for the truth, there's a depth to niceness and a reason for the niceness. And it's because we are a people of hope. We have a people that sees beyond the surface at dignity of a human person and also the glory of the resurrection. That's the cause for our being nice. So that evening, I came back home and I had dinner with my father. And it was an interesting discussion. He just got back from visiting a good friend of his that he's known since he was a baby. I think they were born within 3 days of each other. They lived in the same neighborhood. They were practically brothers. He goes to visit him each and every Thursday, because years ago he was diagnosed with a frontal lobe problem or disorder. Started with just being wobbly, but now he's really in a vegetative type of a state and isn't able to communicate. He can hear, but isn't able to do much. So my dad goes to visit him and talk with him each and every Thursday. It's a really important part of his week. So in talking to my father after he came home, he became increasingly upset and kind of came out the reason why he was getting more upset. He says, well, you know, he has caretakers that come to take care of him. He's in a nursing facility. He has nurses that come to care for him. But it's kind of disgusting after a while to watch it. His name is Mark. The gentleman's name is Mark, and the nurses come in. They say, "Oh, Marky, here's your food, here's this," and then they leave. They're very nice to him. But they treat him like a dog. They treat him like he's not a human being. They just, even calling him Marky, they're treating him like an animal. And my dad got very upset. This is a human being who has dignity, who has a story. So he loves to stay there and talk with him and tell him all that's going on with the family, even though he can't respond. But Mark deserves that much dignity and respect. So now, I'm not putting the nurses in a bad part. They deal with so many people each and every day. And it does need to have a reality check sometimes is how maybe is it perceived, and am I just doing my job, or am I really caring for this as a human person? And for all of us it happens. This isn't yelling at anybody. But before my dad left that room, he made sure to spend an extra 5 minutes telling Mark how much he loved him, how much he cared for him, and just more stories about the family. And he says the nurses just kind of sat back and watched. And I think realized that, oh yeah, I need to put this into perspective again. I am dealing with and caring for a human person who has dignity. I mean, these reality checks sometimes are all the working of the Holy Spirit. We're looking forward to Pentecost and celebrating that, but we have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit within us already as our guide. Yes, to be nice people, but to be followers of Christ, which can be very, very difficult. Going beyond the surface and getting dirty and recognizing the value and dignity of every single human being that we come in contact with each and every day is very difficult, and how invested we get into the messiness of their lives. So when we get the strength from the sacraments that we celebrate today, but also that indwelling of the Holy Spirit, which also always resides in us, it's difficult, but I think that we're all up to task. I think that we're all nice people. And if there's a great sign in front of our church that said, "Welcome to St. Mark's," I hope that through our struggles and through our efforts, it says, "Welcome to St. Mark's, the headquarters of the most Christian people in Londonderry."